woman convicted of killing Tejano superstar Selena could soon get out of prison. The parole process is already underway for Yolanda Saldivar, who is up for parole in March. She was sentenced to life in prison for killing Selena nearly 30 years ago in Corpus Christi. The former prosecutor that led the case against her says that while some people who are granted parole are safer outside of prison, this is not one of those cases. Listen.
30 years later, there is so much interest in the case. And I really believe that the safest place for Yolanda would probably be where she is.
Well, the only thing standing in between Saldivar and parole is 3 people on the parole board, and she only needs 2 of them to agree to parole. Saldivar has never denied the shooting, but maintains it was an accident. Selena's father, Abraham Quintanilla, says he has not been contacted by the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles regarding Saldivar's case.
The woman who murdered beloved Tejano singer Selena Quintanilla Perez is seeking parole. Yolanda Saldivar, who's serving a life sentence for the 1995 murder, is eligible for parole in 18 months, and she's hoping to finally be released from prison. She is a different person than she was in 1995, one of Saldivar's relatives tells the Messenger. She would like to be paroled. Saldivar, now 62, was convicted of first-degree murder in Selena's shooting death more than 28 years ago. She is serving a life sentence in Mountain View, a female prison in Gatesville, Texas. Selena confronted Saldivar, her fan club president, who allegedly embezzled over $60,000 from her, which then led to her fatal shooting. Despite previous unsuccessful appeals in civil suits, Saldivar's relative states that she will file for parole due to her age and medical conditions. She believes it's time to be freed after nearly 30 years in jail.
Wow, so apparently Yolanda Saldivar, Selena Quintanilla's convicted killer, wants to work with Shakira. As many of you guys know, Yolanda was Selena's fan club president and eventually became her right hand, but that all came to a quick end in 1995 after Yolanda murdered the 23-year-old Tejano superstar, and that same year was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 30 years. She will be eligible for parole in less than a year on March 30th, 2025, and according to many news outlets, the now 63-year-old shared in an interview with BBC that one of her aspirations for when she gets out is to work with another important artist, Shakira. Now clearly, Yolanda must be delusional because I don't think Shakira or any other artist in their right mind is going to want to hire a convicted killer known for killing another artist. She's in for a big awakening if she genuinely thinks that the music industry forgot and that's where she's going to get future employment. I genuinely hope her parole gets denied, but what do you guys think about this?
Yolanda Saldivar is up for parole soon. So she was sentenced to life in prison in 1995 for unaliving Selena Quintanilla. Life sentence means that they have to serve 30 years before being eligible for parole. And those 30 years is up on March 30, 2025. So the Texas Board of Pardons starts the parole reviewing process 6 months ahead of time. So the review has already started. So 3 people gather information like criminal history and her behavior while she was in prison. If there's any letters of protest or any letters of support, then they review that too. And then they interview her. So part of the process also includes letting the victim's family know that the convict has applied for parole, but Selena's father, Abraham Quintanilla, says that they haven't been contacted by anybody yet. So at the end, those 3 members of the voting panel will decide by majority of vote if they're going to grant parole or not. So in this case, if 2 members vote against, then she doesn't get parole. If 2 members vote yes, then she gets paroled. So I really hope that she doesn't get paroled. I think for her own safety too, she's safer in prison than being out here because there's a lot of people that want to cause harm to her. But I personally don't think that she's going to get paroled. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know.
When you keep secrets, it affects any relationship. It makes it difficult. On one side, you don't want to betray your friend in telling her husband or her parents everything that's going on. But on the other side, you want to.
Before, I believe, Abraham called me and said, Yolanda, we would like for you to see if you can go with Selena to go to LA because she's going to be filming Bitty Bitty Bom Bom, but none of us can go with her. Somebody has to go with her. And so I went. That's when the friendship started solidifying very, very close. We did a bunch of things. We would go to the park. We would go to the movies and just hang out. And we'd go to the clubs. And she loved that. She just wanted someone that she could depend on, and she knew I was there to do her work.
Like they talk about like she was obsessed and yada yada. To me, this just like shows they were really good friends. You know what I mean? Like beyond just being a friend and an employee, she became her companion and her confidant. Yolana was protecting some of Selena's secrets, and not just some secrets that maybe the family didn't want out, but secrets from the family. She just became dependable, like, you know, to Selena. And so I think with that dependency came, you know, them even getting closer.
They were best buds. They were pals. They did everything. They went to the mall together. They went shopping together. Yolanda's nickname was Buffy.
The word Buffy is something that, like, in our little group, Selena was at me, some girls that we met through them, that became our friends. Mm-hmm. Like, we would always call each other Buffy. Like, hey, Buffy. They just like, hey, buddy, like, hey, friend. You knew you were Selena's friend when she started calling you Buffy. You were part of her inner circle.
Selena didn't have close friendships. She confided to me a lot of things. She loved to just speak what was in her heart, knowing that I would. I think it's time to set the story straight.
I'm sorry, come again? You've got to be kidding me.
My family gathered the evidence, shows different versions of what was going on.
This is not a simple case of murder.
During the trial, I started hearing Selena's got a secret.
Yolanda, it's me, Selena. Can you give me a call?
I was scared. I was frightened.
What the public's been told isn't exactly what happened in reality.
All these years, Yolanda saying the same thing.
I knew her secrets, and I think that people deserve to know the truth.
What possible secrets is Yolanda referring to here? Is this just a ruse for the public since she's up for parole in 2025? And my question for you is, do you believe that this was a calculated and cold-blooded murder? Or do you believe that there is more to the story?
She is safer in prison, says the prosecutor that put Yolanda Saldivar behind bars 30 years ago. Filings have already begun for the parole hearing of Yolanda Saldivar that is set to take place in 2025. Prosecutor Carlos Valdez, who put Yolanda behind bars during the original trial in 1995, says that to this day, Yolanda is safer behind bars than she is out of prison. The recent interview he gave to ABC Houston.
This is not one of those cases. Listen.
30 years later, there is so much interest in the case. And I really believe that the safest place for Yolanda would probably be where she is.
Yolanda only needs 2 people on the parole board to agree to her release for her to be free. Additionally, Selena's family is able to file affidavits in opposition of Yolanda's release. But Abraham Quintanilla also told ABC Houston that he has not been contacted about the matter whatsoever. And I, for one, agree. Keep her in there.
Yolanda Saldivar killed Selena intentionally and knowingly.
And a documentary. That's all you need to know. Yolanda killed Selena intentionally and knowingly.
What the public's been told isn't exactly what happened in reality.
I don't know who that bitch is, but she needs to watch her mouth. I am not about to have a whole new documentary trying to make Yolanda into some type of victim. There are some people out there that are willing to try to help her. You're on my list too.
Yolanda saying the same thing. I didn't mean to do it. Was an accident.
And what Yolanda keeps saying is some bullshit.
Is there more to the story than I know? Hell yes. As long as the person at the center of all this, I mean, she's still around. You got anything to say?
The only story that I'm interested in is Selena's, and I'll never get to fully get that story because Yolanda killed her.
After so many years, I think it's time to set the story straight.
Do not watch this documentary. Do not feed into this woman's delusion. That is what got us to lose Selena in the first place, because that bitch is Delulu. I'm so disgusted that Oxygen is making this documentary, giving this bitch a platform to lie on Selena like she has been for years. Please do not watch this documentary. What we need to do is make an updated documentary on Selena. I want the new generation to understand the impact that this woman had on music. She deserves for her story to continue to be told for generations to come. Do not watch that dumb hoe rot in prison, bitch.
So, I haven't watched the documentary yet. I am debating, do I want to watch it, yes or no? But I just saw on TikTok that Yolanda Saldivar was actually only 34 when she KILL Selena. Only 34. Look at that lady. For reference, I'm going to be 40 years old this year. This lady was 34. What?
Yolanda Saldivar will be eligible for parole in 2025.
Why you killed her?
I won't discuss that.
Why not?
Because the truth is not out.
So tell it.
Not in a court of law.
You've had your day in court. Why didn't you tell it then?
I was not given an opportunity to defend myself. I was represented, which is different.
Yolanda, at that time, your life depended on it. If there is this information that if it doesn't exonerate you, at least gives context as to why Selena Quintanilla is dead, why would you not have demanded that that be presented in court to spare your life?
If I knew then what I know now, you can rest assured that my trial wouldn't have gone the way it is, or that it was. I can assure you. Mis abogados me han dicho que no es prudente ahorita a revelar eso.
En términos de la relación entre ustedes, vamos a empezar, ¿cómo se conocieron ustedes, tú y Selena?
Si vieras que yo empecé, a mí no me gustaba la música tejana. Yo oía country. Yo oí una canción de ella que me gustaba mucho.
After taking the life of Selena, I plan to work for Shakira after I am released next year on parole. You know me as Yolanda Saldivar. I was born to an immigrant family in the sunny city of San Antonio, Texas on the 19th of September, 1960. Wanting to make my parents proud, I went to nursing school and eventually became a nurse before working for Selena. Being a fan of country music, I fell in love with a similar genre named Tex-Mex or Tejano music when it began to take off after Selena began to blow up in popularity in the early 90s. After going to several of Selena's concerts, I tried to get in contact with Selena's father, who managed her band, to start a fan club in San Antonio because I knew it would be a huge success as Selena was blowing up in the music industry. Selena's father eventually gave in and made me the club's president due to my huge support for Selena. I was then promoted to manager of Selena's clothing boutiques in 1993. However, I would have never imagined anybody would find out I was embezzling money from both the fan club and the boutiques. It was in January 1995 when Selena's father began receiving calls from fans who had purchased memberships and received nothing. Wondering where the money was going, he began an investigation and discovered I had stolen more than $30,000 by forging checks. I was then confronted by Selena's father and banned from ever having contact with her. I felt like my life was over. I had made my entire identity about working for Selena. And now that I was fired, I felt like a nobody again. However, I had yet to make the biggest mistake of my life. On the 31st of March 1995, I was confronted by Selena at my motel room at Days Inn. She came in and demanded I give her the financial papers she needed for tax season. Feeling enraged and betrayed, I grabbed a firearm and did the unthinkable. Because if my life was over, so was hers, I selfishly thought. She then collapsed on the floor, and as the clerk called emergency services, I fled the scene by leaving in my pickup truck. I eventually surrendered after a 10-hour standoff with the police. After my arrest, I was found guilty of the murder of Selena, and I was sentenced to life in prison. However, due to my good behavior, I will be eligible for parole on the 30th of March 2025. Hoping everyone has forgiven me and forgotten what I did, I plan to work for Shakira when I am released. What do you think about this?